This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Hey, it's playoff time for baseball, so let's get to Fenway Park. And we're going to be talking about baseball today. We're going to go back to a game that I love, Baseball Highlights 2045. Today we're going to look at 16 new starter teams that just recently came out, and also summarize those with the ones that also came out as expansions and the base ones. I'm going to tell you all about it, how to mix and match them. Here we go. So each of the new 16 teams comes with the same 15 type of cards that you're used to seeing in Baseball Highlights 2045. In this case, we're looking at Detroit, and you'll see we have 10 rookie cards, just like you would normally get in a usual team. And you also get 5 veteran cards, just like you are used to. And here you can see the colors that were used for the Detroit flags here. So there's a total of 16 new teams here. I just showed you Detroit. I'm going to show you the other 15, but what I'm going to do is just show you one card of each, just to give you a feel for what the new cities and or countries are and the colors. Here's some international teams which are really cool. We have the Caribbean Basin, United Kingdom, Pan Asia, and Canada. This reminds me of playing the World Baseball Classic, which is one of my favorite events every few years, and those are the colors of those teams. And on the left we have Kansas City. Moving to the right we have Texas, then Baltimore, then Philadelphia, all new teams. You can check out the colors of the flags. And here we see from left to right, Cleveland, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. And finally, left to right, we have Cincinnati, Minnesota, Atlanta, and then there's Detroit, which I showed you earlier to round out all 16 new teams. Now you might say, how do all these teams interact with each other? How are they the same? How are they different? I actually created this spreadsheet. I went through all the teams, went through how many bases they had, slow speed, average speed, fast speed, how many offensive immediate actions, how many defense immediate actions. When you look to the left, and when you buy these, a lot of times you'll see a V number, and that's the version of the cards there are. Now in the base game, you have V1 through 4, San Francisco, LA, Boston, and New York on the left side there. In previous reviews, I've also looked at Chicago, St. Louis, Florida, and Milwaukee. Those came out over the last year, and that was V5 through V8. Well, now we just looked at 12. Starting at V5 there on the left, we just looked at Kansas City, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Texas, and then both ones for V9, 10, 11, 12. Anytime you see a V number, like the last one, V12, Pan Asia is exactly the same cards as Seattle. The only thing that's different are the team colors and the team name. And that's the same for every one of those V numbers. Well, why would they do that? Well, sometimes you might want to play somebody and you want to have an exactly balanced game right from the start. In this case, you choose the two teams from the same V number, and there you go. You have the same exact game. Or if you specifically don't want one, you know which teams not to select. Plus, if you're playing a 24-team tournament, it's really cool that everybody can be a different team, at least from a name and color perspective. Now that's how to basically, deduce which teams are what, which ones are the same, so which ones aren't. Now this is one of my favorite games of all time, so anytime you add anything to it, I am happy. Now for me, adding more expansions is more exciting for more teams, but of course it has my favorite team as the Boston Red Sox, so I'm already cool. But many people out there have their favorite teams, and they're not represented, and I could see a lot of people wanting them. So for the people that have teams in these 16 new cities, or in any of them since the first 4 that were released, it's a no-brainer to get those teams. Now for people that don't care about those teams, I think it's really cool if you run a lot of tournaments. It's cool to allow people to select the different teams, giving them more of a selection. Also, the big thing here is, the biggest thing for me is, a lot of times people want that play where they have an exact same team as somebody else. So the game starts exactly the same. Even though you're going to have a different deck because you shuffle it differently, you have the same cards to start the game. And a lot of people want that balance at the beginning of a game. And now you can look at that sheet that I showed you at the end of that overview. If you skip that overview, go back and look at that. I show you all the different versions of cards and all the ones that match up to each other and the ones that are different. So if you want to play the same exact starter deck, even though it's a different team, you know which one to pick. Or if you want it differently, you know which ones not to have as the same teams. It helps with bigger tournaments. I love that they added those extra ones like Pan Asia and the Caribbean. Makes it feel like the World Baseball Classic. And for me, it just gives people more choices. More choices is always good, and being able to run bigger tournaments where everybody has their own team is even cooler. So for me, it's a big thumbs up. Now you can buy these on the Eagle Griffin website by themselves, which is what they told me. But they come in packs of 4, or you can buy them from my sponsor, which is Miniature Market. They sell them as individual teams for about $3.90 per team. There you have it. High thumbs up for this. More baseball highlights. I love it.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter, making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.